Welcome to the Emotional Eating Unwrapped podcast. I'm your host, Alana Kessler, an emotional eating and weight loss coach for women looking to fall in love with eating, create healthy attachments with food, and lose weight sustainably. Hello, and welcome to another new episode of Emotional Eating Unwrapped. I'm your host, Alana Kessler, and I'm so happy to be here today because this episode, I have to be completely honest, I have never heard of the topic of this episode before until Cassie, our amazing podcast producer, illuminated me to this concept called girl dinner. I'd never heard about it before. And I have to be honest that as I started digging into this viral TikTok and Instagram trend called girl dinner, I was like really blown away by what I was seeing. And also, I had so many thoughts, right? I know Cassie had introduced this topic to me and she was really excited for me to do it because she knew I'd have so many thoughts. And I don't think I disappointed because I really did. And so if you haven't heard of a girl dinner, at first glance, it is kind of charming. I have to be honest. It's a pretty plate with some crackers, maybe a pickle, a handful of olives, a few strawberries or something. And in the piece of content that girl dinner is being delivered through, right, or our consumption of the girl dinner trend, it's usually captioned with girl dinner and a laugh, right? A laughing emoji or the girls laughing. But I don't know, there was something that there was like some underlying charge that was there. And that's what I want this episode to be. I want to unpack what I believe is really happening underneath this aesthetic because I don't think girl dinner is a trend. I think it's a mirror. I think it reflects something much deeper about how women relate to food, how women relate to body image and effort and emotional regulation. And when we look closely, even though the aesthetic is looking cute and the emoji and kind of the smiling and all that stuff, I just don't think it's cute, right? It's not. And so, you know, I want to just talk about it more, right? I want to talk about what girl dinner really is. And on the surface, it looks harmless. It's quirky. Right? Like some examples, like I said, it could be like mismatched nibbles, things you would really things you'd put on a table per se for like appetizers when people are coming over to watch a game, right? Like olives, popcorn, baby bell cheese, handful of chocolate chips, right? It's like a sort of a random charcuterie board. And this is what girls are saying is their dinner. And so, it's meant to be like humorous, but I think what the underlying message is underneath this is that, and what I see looking deeper is that underneath this aesthetic, women are exhausted. Because from the moment they wake up, they're making decisions about work, about bodies, about outfits, about who to be, about what to say, about parenting. Right? There's just decision fatigue like crazy. And by the time dinner rolls around, they're tapped, right? Like we're tapped emotionally, mentally, nervous systemly, right? We don't want to make another decision. We don't want to have to like cook something and deal with like recipes and ingredients. And we don't want to be performing another task of cooking, right? We don't want to do that because that's what cooking starts to feel like. It feels like a performance, it feels like a task. It feels like it takes more than it gives back at this stage of the day. And so they just want something, anything, right? A charcuterie plate, a snack plate, something low effort, something again, like that doesn't ask more. And so girl dinner in its most viral form has become a socially acceptable mask for this burnout, right? It's a way to say, I'm too tired to care, but I'm still making it cute. I'm still making it digestible. I'm still making it content worthy. Right. And the foods are like, it's not like they're like, it's like lettuce, right? It's not like they're just eating lettuce. So technically you could say, it's cheese, it's nuts, right? So technically it's not like it's like your classic diet food. But what no one is really saying out loud is if you take a deeper microscope to this, the foods on the plates are always small, right? They're almost always like undernourishing in totality. And so even though, like I just said, they're not advertised as diet culture, it still whispers that same old message. It's just in a new language that feminine meals are light, they're restrained, and that being a low maintenance woman is an identity badge, and I smile about it. Right? So, yeah, girl dinner might be quirky, but when the joke is covering up real exhaustion, real depletion, real undernourishment, it's worth taking a look under the hood and getting honest about what and what the women who are eating this girl dinner are really hungry for. Because for so many women, especially those healing from chronic dieting or perfectionism, right? Or like the need to have rules, food isn't just food, right? Eating isn't just eating, right? The act of eating, the foods that you choose can sometimes become a place where you push back, because when you've spent years or decades or just months, being told what to eat, how to look, when to stop eating, when to eat certain foods in certain windows of time, right? Like when you've had all these kind of constraints, eventually a part of you just wants to kind of like say no, right? And not just to the food rules, but to all of it. Right? Especially if you've been like in that dieting mindset where, say you were intermittent fasting and you had to eat like a certain amount of food in a certain amount of window, or you were macro counting and you had to like hit your macros and have certain like types of macronutrients on your plate, and your plate had to look a certain way all the time. Like you were just being governed by all of these external things. You just want to say, like, at a certain point, you just are like, screw it. You just want to like throw out the rules, throw out the recipes. You want to just open up the fridge and just grab whatever the hell you want, right? You call it girl dinner, but underneath it's something more charged, I believe, right? It's your autonomy. It's your tiny protest in a world that's told you over and over again, be small, be easy, don't need too much. Or it needs to be like complicated, it needs to be performative, right? It needs to be like magical and like deep. And it needs to have like, and it becomes more overwhelming. And so what happens during this, what I think was this girl dinner thing underneath, something that could be going on is your nervous system is trying to reclaim power in the one place that it still feels possible, which is your plate, right? It's your eating, it's what you put in your body, it's your food. And it's not just the food, like I said, it's how you choose to eat. But here's the thing, that defiance, like that, like subconscious, or even like, yeah, like that subconscious rebellion, it can feel liberating in the moment, but it rarely leaves you feeling truly satisfied. Right? It rarely leaves you feeling truly satisfied. Because the irony of the whole thing is still tethered to the very system you're trying to reject. It's not really freedom. It's just the other side of the same coin. Right? It's just it's moving to the other extreme. It's not performing, but now it's like, it's reactive. And so when we talk about girl dinner, we're not just talking about, random cute nibbles and snacks on a plate. We're talking about the emotional residue of a life that's been lived performing, people pleasing, trying to be palatable for everyone, trying to make everything the most palatable. And this is a quiet rebellion that happens when, even for one night, you just say, I'm done, and you create this girl dinner with a smile. I remember what it felt like to be stuck in the cycle of emotional eating. I tried every diet out there, counting, tracking, restricting, but nothing ever worked. Food controlled my life, my thoughts, and I constantly felt guilty after eating. But once I learned how to heal the emotional triggers behind my eating and trust my body, everything changed. I stopped obsessing over food, the weight started coming off naturally, and I found real freedom in how I ate and lived. So, I created the Sober Eating year-long mentorship to help other women experience the same transformation. So you can stop battling with food, you can lose weight without deprivation, and you can feel confident in your body again. In this mentorship, you'll have access to my proven nervous system rewiring method. You'll have access to live coaching with me, weekly accountability, and a community of women who truly understand your journey. You'll also have free access to my signature programs, the Emotional Eating Solution and Decoding Permanent Weight Loss, valued at $2,000. Click the link in the show notes to explore the mentorship today. You don't have to do this alone. I'll be right there with you every step of the way. Once in a while, right? Like this can be something, but if this is this can be like a cute thing, but if it's a regular thing, which is what, Cassie, when she brought this to me, was telling me that this is like a regular thing that's happening, it's not good, right? Because real healing comes not from reacting. And I believe this to be a bit of a reaction. It comes from reclaiming food, reclaiming your dynamic with eating as more than a battleground, right? More than something that you have to kind of subconsciously use as a protest, right? By keeping it super small, super like convenient, right? It comes from when you can say, I want to feed myself something high nutritional value and I want to make the effort, not because like I've earned it or it's part of my identity that I have to do, or it's part of a rule that I follow, but because like I deserve to be nourished, and that time that I take to create that for myself is worth it, is worth it. And I'm not saying it has to be every day, right? But like more often than not, right? Like at least 80% of the time. All right. So that's one thing. Another thing that I feel like is underneath this girl dinner thing is that the nervous system is looking for something fast and tangible to interrupt the overwhelm of life. And that's why girl dinner often becomes like not a meal, but a strategy for that, right? A nervous system patch. Right. And because if you think about what the foods of the girl dinner are, they're normally foods with strong sensory impact, like salty, crunchy, spicy, tangy. And oftentimes, these are foods that if we struggle with emotional eating in some capacity, start to think we're addicted to. But you're not addicted to the foods. Your body is just reaching for something that it can garner a feeling from, a sense from. Okay. It's something that it can feel like it can hold something, and it doesn't have to require a decision, more effort. But unfortunately, it doesn't work, right? It doesn't work because what this girl dinner really is a soothing mechanism. It's a soothing mechanism. But true soothing reconnects you to yourself, right? It grounds you. And that's something that is really important to recognize, right? It grounds you. It typically gives you, when you finish a soothing activity, you feel more nourished, you feel more complete. So when we talk about the girl dinner, the real question becomes like, after I have this girl dinner, do I feel like more satisfied? Do I feel like more like I could be with myself, or do I feel more like distant from myself? Hey, do I feel that way? Right? It's like you want to know. So let's think about again, like what a plate with a few crackers, a couple bites of cheese, some grapes, a pickle, a spoonful of peanut butter, right? Like, what exactly is this? Right? What exactly is this? There's no rhythm, there's no anchor. It's just fragments, it's fragmented. Right. And so, in so many ways, this scattered plate is a perfect metaphor for how so many women, especially like high functioning in the society women, feel inside, pulled in 100 directions, shape shifting from one role to another role, never feeling fully in one place, never fully sure who you are when no one else sees you, right? The secret hiding behavior that you all, that I've had, that, you know, a lot of women have, right? More likely than not, you spend your days holding it all together, right? For everyone. And when it's time to feed yourself, you can't even like be with yourself long enough to know what you want, right? Like that's one of the biggest things I hear. It's like, I don't even know what I want. I don't even know how to make a decision. So what do? So you graze, you nibble, you grab random bites and call it girl dinner. So what if this is not a food issue? What if it's a selfhood issue? What if this is a selfhood issue? Because when you're living in fragments, which think about what this girl dinner plate is, when your day is a blur of like obligation, overextension, hypervigilance, overfunctioning, your food reflects that, right? There's no container, there's no grounding. There's no like this is for me, this is intentional. And a lot of times it's because like we haven't landed with ourselves long enough to know what it is that we want. So that's what this healing is all about. Right? It's giving yourself back to yourself. And that's why this is so interesting. Right? Because maybe girl dinner isn't just about food. And I think we've established that, right? It's a mirror reflecting all the invisible things that we carry, all the invisible weight that we carry that might even show up as physical weight, right? The pressure to be low maintenance, the burnout that builds from serving others all day long. Maybe there's resentment and rebellion that's living underneath us for all the ways that we've been told we have to be, we have to eat, chosen, things that we've chosen to take on as rules and things that were just kind of we inherited, right, from other people in our lives. And listen, I totally get it. Like sometimes you really are just too tired to make a full meal. Like I said earlier, that's totally valid. And sometimes a snack plate, a fragmented snack plate is the best you can do. And that's totally okay too. This isn't about shaming the small dinners or the quirky plates. It's about asking what's underneath this pattern, right? Am I caring for myself or am I just bypassing my own needs again? Because you deserve more than just bits and pieces. You deserve more than performance disguised as a preference, right? You deserve meals that feel like they're meant for you, not just easy to clean up or just convenient. And more than that, you deserve to eat like a person who matters, who takes up space, right? Like you don't have to shrink your meals or your presence just to like make it feel better, make it feel easier, make it feel safer. Right? You can start to see that effort towards yourself is care, right? Even if it takes up a little more time, requires a little more preparation, planning, okay? So that is all I have today. I really enjoyed this girl dinner exploration because I really had never heard of it before. So please let me know if you have any of your own thoughts. You can always leave a comment on Spotify. You could also leave a comment on the YouTube video if you're watching there. And if you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you are not yet following the podcast, please follow us on Spotify and Apple. And until next time, I'm Alana, and thank you for listening to Emotional Eating Unwrapped.